Welcome to Dining with the Diva. I'm Judy Witz-Francini, and this is my tiny Tuscan kitchen. Seriously, this is it. I live out in Certaldo, which is a beautiful little hill town, and I live outside the hill town in the middle of olive trees. So if you ever get the chance to come by here, it's really, really gorgeous. Today I want to do something just really simple, which is perfect for a summer dinner party. And before you guys came, hello Deb, I wanted to show you what I just made. I had, every once in a while I get cravings. So this is a dish that my mother-in-law made. It kind of took a while, so I made it ahead of time. This is called bouilloni. Bouilloni, that's what his mother calls it. And she was from Fellini Valdarno. And I think my friend Erica calls it bouilloni, and then they have another name for it in Rome. So it's one of those recipes that even though it's the same, it changes. So what this is, it's a beautiful summer vegetable stew, and you start off with red onions, sauteing them in olive oil, and then you add chopped carrots, potatoes, and I like red bell peppers, okay? Then you salt them all, and cover it and let them stew, and then you add a can of tomatoes and a little bit of water, and you cook it until they're really tender. But right now there's a lot of juice still left in here. I prefer to make this the day ahead of time and then have it the next day when kind of the starch from the potatoes has thickened this beautiful broth. If you went to drink this, it's almost like a gazpacho with the peppers and onions and everything. It's really, really yummy. So we'll probably eat this cold tomorrow because I think it's really nice. And my husband, from when he was like a kid, loves to just like squish the potatoes with his fork. And so that's something I did ahead of time. And that's in the cookbook. And it's on page 153. So you can order my cookbook online, and not from Amazon, just on my website, divinacucina.com. Or also on the website, I made a ebook out of it, so you can just keep it on your phone or your computer, or iPads or something. So yeah, potatoes, carrots, onions, bell peppers, tomatoes, water, salt. And then another thing we're going to make, the main recipe today, that's so simple. Florence is really famous for its bistec alla fiorentina, and often those are huge. I know some of you know I worked with Dario Cecchini, the butcher in Chianti, and his most people's steaks are like 3 fingers high. Well, Dario's hands are really big, so his steaks could be 4 fingers high, my 4 fingers, but they could also be over a kilo, sometimes 2 kilos, because of the size of the cow. So for my husband and I, that's just too much meat. So I got, I guess what even at home might be like a Chateaubriand. It's a rump roast. It's a nice, big, thick cut. Let me just show you. So for me, this is, that's high enough, okay? And you want your meat, you'll see the Tuscan beef here has no marbleizing. We have grass-fed beef that eat out in fields, and it's important not to overcook this or it gets really tough because there is no fat in here. So you want to pull your meat out and have it be at room temperature, okay? And then we're going to, I'm not going to go outside and barbecue. I have my little Tuscan indoor grill. This is a cast iron skillet, okay? And I'm just going to preheat that right now. It's like a barbecue. I just want that to get really hot. So I'll put a link, when I put this onto my YouTube channel, I'll put a link to my article on how you actually grill a Tuscan bistec alla fiorentina. The bone kind of makes it a little difficult because that breaks up the fillet from like what this would be like an entrecote kind of thing. This cut of meat, when you have a cow, the bistec alla fiorentina is from the rack, where you start off with the T-bone section and then you get down to like what would be like the steak that doesn't have the fillet on it, okay? And here that's called a costata, where it's just part of the ribs and not with the fillet. And then when the steak's finished and going down here, you get to the top of the rump. And that's where this cut of meat is from. So it's one of the most tender cuts of meat that traditionally we slice real thin and do just like little breakfast steaks, a braccioli. So I'm going to wait till that gets hot. And one recipe that, let me get a little bowl here. that Dario did, which I thought I really love, and it's on my website. He makes a thing called arrosto fiorentino. And he takes the eye of round, which is a very inexpensive cut of beef, leaves it at room temperature for a few hours, and then you crank your oven up to like 450. And you just put it in a pan with like a lasagna pan or something, no fat, nothing. You throw it in the oven for about 25 minutes if your steak, if the eye round's about that big. And it kind of browns all on the outside. And then when you get it out, you cover it with this herb-infused oil. So what we're going to do now is make a smaller version just using a steak, and then make this Tuscan herbal-infused oil to throw on top of it. And then we serve it sliced. Tagliata is to slice. So the tagliata is traditionally served for people that don't want to eat a whole big 2-pound bistec alla fiorentina, okay? So the secret recipe here now for the Tuscan herbs, this is my Italian food processor, the Mezzaluna. Ashland, Oregon, ciao, yeah. Hi, Tom. So this is a Mezzaluna. I'm going to rock and walk. This is somebody was asking me the other day. I like the ones that have where I can put my hand on top and push down. There's also ones you grab like this, but you should always chop with it straight up and down in front of you. So this I sometimes call jokingly like my porchetta salt. It's the same blend of porchetta. This is sage leaves from my plant out in the garden. So I'm just going to take off some fresh sage. And I usually make this called erbe Tuscany when I'm and dry them. And so that's when I call it like my porchetta salt. But we're today going to use it fresh. And this is rosemary. Now also when we have rosemary, there's kind of two kinds of rosemary. Do we need to sharpen? You know, I've had this probably 18 years, Charlene, and I've never sharpened it. I always chop on a cutting board and it's never become dull. But with rosemary, there's two kinds of rosemary. There's rosemary that's for landscaping, and then there's rosemary that's herbal. Hi, Miyuki. Ciao. So this is the herbal rosemary. And I think sometimes people don't like rosemary because I think they use the landscaping one. And it's, to me, has almost like a really camphory essential oil flavor, which is too strong for me. So when you make this, you'll have your own little Tuscan blend. But basically, it's a trinity. Most 3 is about all the magic number for ingredients. You don't need 6 million ingredients and things. So this is rosemary, sage, and garlic. And I don't put a lot of garlic in here. In Tuscany, we really don't use a lot of garlic, okay? Let me peel this. It's very fresh. And I'm just going to slice the garlic and put it on top here. And then I like to add chili peppers. I like chili and everything because we don't use a lot of black pepper, but I do like chili pepper. So I'll just put 2 of these. I think I've shown you before. These are what I call my trip to hell chili peppers. Okay. These are, I think they're called bird's eye chilies. I actually have, ciao George. I actually have some fresh chili I could put in there too, which would be really nice tonight. The first chilies just came out. And so I bought a little stock of them. And, hi Patty. These are really, really nice. And I made some, I don't know if you saw on Facebook the other day, I made tomato jam with these. It was really lovely. Okay, so we're just going to use the Mezzaluna, and I'm going to just rock and walk. So it's garlic, rosemary, and sage. And then I'm going to mix it in with about a cup of extra virgin olive oil, a pinch of salt, and the other thing I like to add when I'm using it raw is fennel pollen. It's something that's just coming to bloom right now. And Dario kind of started getting this again produced. Can you see that? It's a pollen off the wild fennel, okay? Yeah, Deb, doesn't make a difference when you use the herbal ones. So if you're going to go to the nursery and buy rosemary, ask them for the herbal rosemary. They may not even know, but it's called in Latin Rosmarino officinalis. Officinalis are the ones they used to use as medicine, kind of, you know. So all I want to do is keep moving this around. I don't want to rock like this. I want to stand and just like rock up and down in front of me. I'm doing this on my stove top, so it's a little bit higher so you can see it. This is really hot right now. I'm just going to put this right on there. and leave it alone. And basically, you'll be able to watch as the heat comes up. So on a nice layer of kind of like black and blue. A good barbecue kind of like crust on the outside, a little bit of gray, and then it'll be raw, but chili pepper. It'll be raw but not cold, okay? So it'll be like the best roast beef you've ever had. Now, there's a lot of people that don't like, I know, especially American beef raw because it bleeds and it's really gross. Don't overcook a nice lean kind of beef. What you want to do is to cook it perfectly for like pretend you're cooking for Tuscan. Let it sit for 10 minutes in this marinating oils like what we're going to do. And then slice it, and you'll see it'll be like that sushi grade where it's all grilled on the outside and red on the inside. And then if somebody wants to cook medium or something like that, just take those little slices and grill them for them, okay? They won't be able to see the red, and it won't bleed. It'll be really beautiful. One of the things, I was like a vegetarian in America because I didn't like the American, you know, the commercial kind of beef that we had. I left 32 years ago, so. These cows basically, you know, we have them even just down the street from me. So many people around where I live raise cattle. They, you know, it's a smaller production. They eat alfalfa and grains. They're not treated with hormones, steroids, and antibiotics, and so that tends to make meat in America tough. And so what they often do is that they'll feed them corn-fed beef, remember that saying? And corn helps get that marbleizing in the beef. So in America, you want marbleizing in your beef. They tell you look for that, that's something really good. And then you usually cook it to medium, and that makes the fat melt and makes the meat more tender. But if you have really good quality meat, it wouldn't have fat, and it'll be really tender anyway, as long as you don't overcook it. So one of the things I think it's hard about recipes is you read a recipe from somewhere else and try to do it at home, and it doesn't really work because of the difference in the ingredients. So anyway, we go back to chopping. So rosemary, sage, garlic. And if I was doing this, that I was going to be saving it to make my herbal salt, which you'll see on my website too. I would add salt on this, and then the salt, it would absorb the essential oils and help to dry these herbs, and you can leave it out on the cutting board for like a day or so, and then you can just put it in a jar and use it whenever you want to. I like to do a lot with it. To me, it's just even good with oil for dipping bread, which of course Italians don't do. I saute it with things. I do my roast pork. My assistant Erica, who's very smart, she just likes to make it fresh, use less salt, and then she puts it in a Ziploc bag in the refrigerator when she needs it, and she just pulls it out fresh, right out of the freezer. So you could also do that too if you're trying to have less salt in your diet. Here in Italy, I use Sicilian sea salt, which is lower in sodium and very high in magnesium and has other properties to it as well. So this is like having, you know, two knives. So when I was a chef, you know, we'd be with two knives and go and mince things up like that, and it was always so noisy. So I find this to be more therapeutic and quiet in the, you know, in the kitchen. So this is nice. Really relaxing. And I'm just watching the meat cook. What else would I say? Often you get the tagliata, and I would say at home I'd probably buy like a London broil maybe. They're a little bit smaller, and they would cook it, you let it sit, and then you just slice it real thin. And traditionally it's served like on the, with arugula, and olive oil, and then like shaved Parmesan cheese. So that's a traditional way you'll probably get it in a restaurant here. And again, you know, you don't want to order, it's so funny when you see tourists ordering a beefsteak on the Florentine for like 1 or 2 people, and then this, you know, 4-pound hunk of meat comes out. It's all shocking, and it's expensive. They're sold by weight. Like fish is also sold by weight here. Okay, so that's almost done. A little bit more. Okay, this is beautiful. So now I'm just going to put it in a bowl. I'm putting it in a big glass bowl so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay. And I'm going to add a little bit of the fennel pollen. If you don't have it, it doesn't matter. I wouldn't put seeds. I don't like serving people seeds. If you want to, we have Greek or Sicilian oregano. which is my preferred oregano. It's got such a beautiful sweet flavor. That's really, really beautiful. And then extra virgin olive oil. And we're going to make this infused oil. So I have a little chili pepper, garlic, rosemary, sage. Doesn't want to break out like Simon and Garfunkel, right? And about a cup of oil. Now here I only use extra virgin olive oil. And for this one I use my grocery store extra virgin that I know is from Tuscany. I don't use something, like those Bertolli, Catapelli commercial olive oils. I don't think those are very good. Okay, so now I've got this beautiful, this is my Tuscan marinated oil. Ciao, Mike. Oh my God, I can't believe you're such a good painter. So we've got this beautiful oil thing going. Okay, so now I'm going to get ready. I'm going to do, as an accompaniment to the steak, right now we're just getting these beautiful cherry tomatoes in. So these are actually from Sicily, just come up. And they were so beautiful I couldn't resist. We made them like a little pugliese bruschetta for lunch. I put that picture on my Facebook. As I was driving home today, let me see if it's right here, the mailman came and they never find my house. I was walking into my driveway and this big truck came up. And he stopped because he was obviously lost. And he said that he was looking for me. And I was so excited. And look what I got in the mail. One of my favorite small family oil companies. This is Prunetti. This is one of their single, they call them monocultivar, like a cru, Lacino olive oil. There's, we have like 3 olives usually that are made in blending the traditional oil here. Lacino, Moreolo, and Frantoio. And they've decided to separate them also, so then you can also learn to appreciate the different flavors of the oil. So this arrived today for lunch, and so we used it. Really good olive oil is such a treat. It's what you would call a finishing oil. You drizzle it on the top at the end. They usually are very, very strong flavored. They're really, really great, and so you don't use a lot of it. So when I used to cater, so I kind of look at price per serving. It's very cute. My 2 cats are in here watching me now. Price per serving. So, maybe in America, maybe this would be $40. But it's 250. It's like a whole cup or more, 8.5 ounces of extra virgin olive oil. But you would use like teaspoons of this or tablespoons per person. So if you looked at a cost per serving, it's nothing. When something's really good, I think you use less of it, like extra virgin, when you have the extra virgin olive oil or the traditional, this will be really good on the steak too. This is my friend Andrea Bezzecchi's traditional balsamic vinegar, silver label, which is at least 25 to 35 years old, from Reggio Emilia, which is the other town which can make balsamic vinegar. So I love to have just great ingredients, and then I only need like 3 things to make food. It's really great. So I'm going to get another bowl out, and we're going to just cut these tomatoes up. And I just want them cut in half. I don't want them tiny, because I kind of call them my pan-fried sun-dried tomatoes. I saute these cherry tomatoes with garlic, olive oil, and chili pepper, and I like to put them in a lot of things. Today I'm just going to toss them around the steak. But I also do them, we were talking the other day about doing fado salad, but I didn't get any fado today. These are really good. I have a fado salad recipe on my website where I use fado, which is sometimes called spelt, and chickpeas. And then I do these pan-fried cherry tomatoes with garlic, olive oil, and chili pepper, my other trinity. And I mix it all together. I sometimes put a little of this rosemary, sage, and garlic in there. Let the tomatoes get all mushy. And then I throw the fado in with these cherry tomatoes. Let it soak up like the sauce from the cherry tomatoes. And then I add truffles. So I can buy sliced truffles here for my truffle guys. If you don't have truffles, you can use truffle oil. But it's a very beautiful, beautiful recipe. And if you don't have that, you can just even add mushrooms or something like that. It's a nice recipe, and I think it's also good to have cold. I usually do it in the winter and serve it kind of warm. So I'm going to flip. Let me get my spatula. I'm going to flip my steak now. Okay. Let me just show you what I can see. I'll show you this side. So can you see, like that gray line, that's where it's cooked. So I want to leave a nice pink in the middle and make the other side just like this, okay? See? My handle's loose. So can you see the beautiful steak lines on there? Isn't that gorgeous? I love these pans. Okay, I'm just going to keep that going there. Now I'm going to saute my cherry tomatoes. So a nice little saucepan is going to get some nice high heat. So, traditionally, cookbooks say heat the oil, right? And then they say add the garlic, add the sliced garlic. Well, my rule of thumb is to put the garlic into cold oil. Because usually if you actually heat the oil in the pan and then add like minced garlic or something like that, it burns. So I just put the cold oil right in the pan. The heat's on, but it's not really heating yet. Okay? And then I'm just going to slice big slices. I like the garlic to be in big slices so it doesn't burn. The garlic right in there. And often, you know, if you had it sliced really thin or minced, if the oil was heated and you turned around, it would be burnt. So you should really throw away any burnt garlic. So this is one of the best rules of Italian cooking. Add your garlic to cold oil and then turn it on, and then I think you're just more in control of it right there. Okay? So I'm going to do garlic, olive oil, chili pepper. The steak smells so good. Okay, my little chili peppers are, where did I put them? Here. So I'm going to do 2. And I break them up. Now you have to be careful of touching your eyes, nose, mouth, going to the bathroom after you've touched chili peppers, okay? They can really be dangerous and burn you, and I always tend to, then, you know, I touch something or taste something, it gets it all. My mouth starts to burn. I'm just going to rinse off my hands. Cold water. Got a nice little, you know, ceramic serving tray ready here. And I'm going to keep stirring. If you have kids around, have them stir. How high is the heat? I love high heat. Hi, Susan. I love high heat. I think that's one of the secrets of a kitchen, a professional kitchen, is they use higher heat. And I think things cook faster, they get more flavor. And I want it to come out like it's barbecue grill. So you don't usually throw it on the barbecue, you know, you have flames going and stuff from the heat. But remember, the other thing is you want your meat to be room temperature. That's one of the big secrets of life. And Gina, I love your chili pepper roll. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, cold water is the best thing, really. Okay. So see, my garlic still isn't burning. It's just sautéing. Can you see that? Still white. And this is also probably one of my favorite pasta sauces. So just as usually do it on spaghetti. I like spaghetti. Just as the spaghetti's almost done, I'll do sliced garlic, olive oil, chili pepper, and then pick the spaghetti up out of the pan and drop it right into the sauce and toss it. Sometimes, I don't know if it's a joke or not, but they say they serve this like at midnight as a late night snack food, you know? But I could eat it all day. They do so many things based with this. Sometimes people melt an anchovy in here. You could toast breadcrumbs. And that'd be like a southern Italian poor man's parmesan and top the pastas with that. We would boil broccoli or spinach or chard or anything. They boil the vegetable first and then they saute it in garlic and olive oil. You can put lemon juice, garlic, olive oil, and chili pepper is my favorite. So I think sometimes when people don't like spinach, especially, it's because it just tastes wet. But if you do this, it's really lovely. And if I wanted to be like Mediterranean, kind of Renaissance, medieval, I could add like dried nuts and raisins or cranberries. They put a lot of raisins in it. And I can just start to smell the garlic get golden now. So I'm going to add the tomatoes. Okay. And then I'm going to add salt. Now salt's going to help bring the water out of the tomatoes. So also when I made this bouillon, I did the same thing. When I put the onions in to cook, and then I added the potatoes and the other vegetables, I added salt like this, nice big pinch of salt, and that draws the water out. You let them cook by themselves in their own juices, kind of, and then to the bouillon you add the tomato sauce. Same thing with tomatoes. So to cook out this excess water. And one thing about when you cook a steak, you know the trick? They say, like on your hand, if you push right here, that's like raw meat. And if you just close it, that's medium. And then this is well done, where there's no bounce left, okay? Ciao, Francesco. So, raw, medium, and well done. So, you don't want to be cutting your steak open, you know, to see how well it's done. You can actually see how much play it's got. I'm going to give it another turn to get the grill going that way. So I can see on the side there that I almost have the equal amount of cooked on the bottom. So when this is done, I'm going to take this out and put it in a pan and cover it with my blend. Let me go get a pan for that. Sorry, I forgot it. Good. So if I was doing my eye of round, this is the pan I use, like a lasagna pan, and I would just put the whole eye of round in here with no oil, nothing. Put it in a 450-degree oven, and then when it comes out, you put the cold herbal-infused oil on the hot meat. Opposites attract. You let it sit 10 minutes together, and then that lets the meat relax, so it won't lose all that blood. And that's the same idea I'm going to do with the steak, to have a little something smaller. And I just thought these cherry tomatoes, I can't get enough of the tomatoes. They'd be really good as a garnish on this. I was going to do that too. So the salt brings out the water, the high heat. We'll boil that off, and it's going to concentrate the flavor. I know a lot of people like to oven roast these. That's also really pretty. And some people candy them by dusting them with powdered sugar. Okay, that's something else you do. Tomatoes, although we eat them like a vegetable, are actually a fruit. So I made my tomato jam the other day, and I put it with sugar, lemon juice, and then I added a little chili pepper and basil with some ginger. That was a recipe I got from Sicily. I added the chili and ginger, which is something I think I read about from Spain, to be served with tuna. But I like it as a jam to serve on fresh ricotta. I just bought some goat cheese, fresh goat cheese, which is really beautiful. Okay, so I'm letting these really cook down. Let me check this again. I think this is perfect. Okay. So let it stand up on that side for a second. So when you go, if you do go to Dario's for steak, they stand it up on the T-bone also to let the heat dissipate through the meat too. Okay, so here's my steak. Once the two of you still follow the order of the courses of the meal. We're not going to have pasta. We rarely have pasta and then meat. We tend to have meat and vegetables more than anything. Okay, here we go. Let me just hold this up so you can see this now. So we have the beautiful steak, and I'm just going to add this beautiful, it's got the, remember, garlic, olive oil, chili pepper, rosemary, sage, sea salt. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That's it for 10 minutes, okay? Yeah, I don't know anybody. Sunday lunch might be one of those things, or when people come to visit, you might serve more food. But we tend to just, we like fruit and cheese at the end of a meal. So we tend to either have meat or fish and a vegetable, or we'll have pasta. We won't have both of them usually. It's just too much food, you know? We're not out working in the fields. So now I can see that the sauce here is caramelizing kind of with the tomato juices, and you can't just see oil anymore. The tomatoes are getting soft. I just love hot tomatoes. Can you see? Let me just look at this. Ciao, Paolo. You see how pretty these are? Now I think this would be really beautiful too on pasta, and it would be great with prawns. feel like they go a little more. And this I really like to do with a little balsamic vinegar in here. So if I was going to do it on pasta, I would probably cut them in quarters, a little bit smaller, okay? So this will help like caramelize them, give a little more flavor. So this is traditional balsamic vinegar that has no vinegar. This is just aged grape juice. Oh, the flavor. Oh. When it hits the heat, the smell is so beautiful. This is really, really yummy. So I'm going to serve this on my sliced steak. So this is the same way I would do it for my fava salad. Again, I would cut the tomatoes usually a little bit smaller for that. So it'd be like bite size. So here the balsamic vinegar is caramelizing with those tomato juices. That's just so, so good. Okay, I think that's done too. So now, let's get our cutting board. I'm going to rush along here just for you guys, okay? No. I was talking about if I made aglio di peperoncino, that's the same way I would start the aglio di peperoncino, which is one of my favorite dishes in life. But really, if I have a nice big plate of pasta, I tend to like to have a bigger portion of pasta and make that my meal. So let me get my little pinchers here. It's nice to hold the meat with something. Get these. Okay. I'm going to start cutting this way, and then I'll turn around and show you. So you usually don't want to cut this too thin or too thick. But doesn't this look like just the best prime rib? Look at that. Or a perfectly cooked steak. So this is just warm, not raw. Okay? I'm going to just put those onto my little tray now. So the eye of round I like to slice really, really thinner. I usually tie it to make sure it's nice and tight when I cook it. So what I was saying before too, like if you got Uncle Jim who doesn't like red meat, just throw it on here and you'll see how quickly this is going to become like perfectly seared and will look like something he'll love. Okay. It just takes really a minute on each side, and this is just the cast iron skillet. I've got it turned off now. So see, look. Now that's not scary for the people that want their meat cooked a little more, and you haven't overcooked it until it's dead, okay? We like it really raw. It tastes better. Oh, you know what I forgot? I'm going to put this into the pan with the herbs. Okay, all the sliced pieces go in here, and then I'll flip them. So if you live in Italy, this cut of meat that I bought today is, like I said, the one my mother-in-law would have used for a her paper-thin braccioli, the thin slices of meat that were cooked. It's just in a skillet, like a minute steak kind of thing. And the cut of meat here is called bicchieri, which means a glass. I don't know why, but that's what it's called. Okay. So see, this is how you would probably get the tagliata at a restaurant. Nice. It's like a nice big thick slice of steak, and you could usually serve it on a big tray, and you take how many pieces you like. And then I usually like to make one of these, like for the two of us. This is way too much meat for us. But what I'll do is that I'll maybe make a steak salad or do a little stir fry with the leftover. The first day we'll just eat it like this, and then I'll recycle it. Italians don't really like leftovers as leftovers. You can make it taste like something else. So I love to use these as stir fries. So I do garlic, olive oil, ginger, soy sauce or something. Make a little stir fry with some vegetables, or a steak sandwich, or even just I'll make a nice big green salad and cut up thin slices of meat to put in there, and dress it with the balsamic vinegar. It's kind of like what they would do, with the serving it with the arugula and like fresh cherry tomatoes and the shaved Parmesan cheese. These are kind of like my little quality control pieces right here. Let me just see. yummy. I think it needs more salt. Remember, I didn't salt that. Okay, so now I've got, here's the big pan, okay? Now I'm going to turn all these so both sides really get that marinade. Remember, hot and cold attract. So the oil was cold and the meat's, you know, hot off the grill. Warm. If you want to keep it warm, you can cover it with foil. But I also like to serve this room temperature, not hot. You could, if you wanted to, warm this up a little bit in the oven. But really, overcooked meat can be really tough. Okay? So, I'm going to give this a nice touch of salt now. Of course, everyone can do that at the table, extra salt and pepper. You could do that. So now, I just place these on my serving tray. So like I said, you could have had a nice big bed of arugula down here. And then when you're serving this too, you could put the arugula, you can do shaved cheese, the shaved Parmesan cheese. But you can also, let me move this back a little bit. You can also make sure that you put the more cooked pieces all down at one end so people can find them easily. That's a good idea. Okay, that's a good piece. Okay. And then I'm going to pour all these beautiful juices on top anyway. Or you could pass them on the side if you wanted to. Beautiful beauty party presentation. It's really lovely. And then I'm going to add these kind of caramelized cherry tomatoes and their juices. Okay, very party. Get that garlic out of there. Here you go. My summer tagliata, my summer steak marinated with Tuscan herbs and caramelized cherry tomatoes. Okay, thanks for stopping by. Do leave messages, leave notes, and if you want to catch this again, I have my YouTube channel, Divina Cucina, where I'll be posting this and linking to the herb recipe and the arrosto fiorentino, which inspired this recipe. Okay, thank you so much for stopping by. Invite your friends. Okay, ciao ciao, ciao Francesca, ciao Robin. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions? It's really nice today. It's less hot than normal. So it wasn't so bad to be in the kitchen. Hi, Lily. Prego. I'm trying to think what to do next. It's been so hot. It's been horrible. But I haven't really felt like cooking. I was thinking about, you know, bringing out my ice cream machine, but it takes too long. You don't want to stand there and watch ice cream be made. My cat says hi. This is Fred. We adopted him. He's a big black cat. But on my website, you can go look up watermelon ice cream. There's a sorbet that was inspired by a dessert in Sicily. And you just puree the watermelon with like a little sugar and water, or just even the watermelon by itself. And you freeze it like a granita, and then you add mini chocolate chips as the seeds. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dessert. Farinata. Farinata, like the farinata in Florence that we call cecina, which is like the socca in France. I was thinking about that the other day because I do it in the oven. But I have also a recipe now that I'm doing in a cast iron skillet on top of the stove. For those of you that don't know, farinata or cecina or socca is a chickpea flour crepe. And you have to mix the chickpea flour with water and olive oil and salt and pepper. And you let it sit like for about an hour or so. And then you have, let me show you. Let me see if it's right here. There's my pan. I don't see where my chickpea flour pan is. I have a special pan, which is copper and about this high. And you pour the batch in there and you throw it in like a pizza oven, kind of really, really hot, hot oven. And then it becomes this like cooked crepe, which to me almost tastes like eggs.
So if you can't eat eggs, this is perfect. It tastes like an omelet. If you can't have flour, this is gluten-free. And I've seen people cut them into thin strips and use it like tagliatelle, like for pasta, with a truffle sauce. That was really good. We just eat it. It's like a snack food in Tuscany or the Ligurian coast or a lot of places. Traditionally, if you follow a recipe, you can usually see, like, Nice used to be Italy. So Nice, it's called socca. You come to Liguria, and it's called farinata. And you come down the coast of Tuscany, and it's called Cesena. And there's also a town called Cesena that's written the same way. So we could do that. That'd be fun. I could do it in a skillet, maybe it'd be faster, or do it in the pan. It's probably on my website too. We'll think about that. I love Cesena. I think it's really one of my favorite snack foods. I'm trying to think where the last time I had it. I think I had it at the Via Reggio at the coast. You can usually get there, and it usually comes out about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Can you post a picture of the pan? Yeah, I could probably find it though. Wait a second. It's not there. Yeah, I'll post a picture of it. I usually have it hanging up, is why I'm looking around crazily. But it's a special copper pan. I'll post a picture for you. Okay. So thanks, you guys. I'll see you later. Ciao.